Steve Austin has decided to throw the heavyweight champion into the most unpredictable tournament in wrestling history, but can Wardlow survive the strong style roulette? We signed more heavyweights to make this the most exciting roulette to date as we continue to go from strength to strength on our road from local to global, but we hit a stumbling block that's starting to tank our show ratings. And if you're excited for today's episode, make sure you drop a like down below and help us reach 400 likes to unlock the next episode. And I mean it this time as the kids are now back at school and the holidays are over. Head over to Patreon where you can gain access to several save points from the series to play yourself. And if you don't already own the game, head over to TEWDB.com and use the banner at the top of the site to buy TEW IX. And we start off today's video then at the start of a brand new year in January 2028. And as always, we have the annual awards, not only for the entire world, but also for within our company. So we're going to check out both to kick off this video. But first, we're going to start off with the general awards and see if us or our talent can pick up anything on a global scale. So let's check it out then and start with the male wrestler of the year. And this time around, Christian Casanova has picked up the award. This being, of course, Carmelo Hayes in WWE. He's still in WWE. And yeah, apparently he's the best wrestler in the world right now. And this ends a streak of 2 awards in a row for Gunther. So he has been dethroned for the first time since Cody Rhodes won the award in 2024. And next up we have Female Wrestler of the Year, and this time Io Sky picks up the award. And that's actually her first time since the save started, with Rhea Ripley winning the first one, then Tiffany Stratton, Bianca Belair, and now Io. And apparently Io did win the award back in 2016 and 2017 in real life as well. So yeah, this is her 3rd award in history. Next up, Company of the Year is WWE, and the wrestling giant continues to grow on the save. They're currently the biggest size you could possibly be in Titanic, and yeah, I don't think this one is much of a surprise given how well they're doing, as I say, in the save. And next up, Male Tag Team of the Year, once again actually went to Prince Devitt and Jordan Devlin, or Finn Balor and JD McDonough, and this is the 2nd time in a row after FTR and the Young Bucks won it before them. Female Tag Team of the Year is Kaylee Ray and Isla Dawn, so let's check out if this is the first time they've won the award, and it is. So last year it was Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, then it was Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, and then it was Micah and Sayori. So far the awards have been dominated by WWE, but can that change with Match of the Year? And no, it hasn't, because it was Carmelo Hayes and Seth Rollins defeating Drew McIntyre and Gunther on WWE Raw in November. So very random, but once again, WWE picking up the award. And show of the year was WrestleMania 42, night 1 actually, so the Saturday show. So if we go to that show, we can see what went down that night. And the show was main evented by Ilya Dragunov defeating Bron Breakker in a tables match to retain the undisputed WWE title. The World Heavyweight Championship was on the line, as well as Drew McIntyre defeated Gunther and Kevin Owens to win the belt. And there was also some other matches in there as well. Jade Cargill defeating Nia Jax for the Women's Championship, and also Bianca Belair defeating Natalya for the WWE Women's World Championship. And actually on the Sunday night, we may as well take a look at that, as there was a rematch, strangely, between Ilya Dragunov and Bron Breakker, as Ilya defeated him once again to retain the belt. Drew McIntyre once again defeated Gunther in a ladder match this time for the World Heavyweight Championship. So it looks like the AI aren't separating the card across their 2 nights. Jade Cargill defeated Io Sky in a ladder match as well, so 2 ladder matches in a row there. Then Bianca Belair defeated Adriana Rizzo, Liv Morgan and Julia to retain the women's world title on night 2. Then Male Young Wrestler of the Year is Exulua, once again the guy that we looked at a couple of years ago now, I believe, or maybe a year ago, potentially signing him, and we weren't able to because he didn't want to work in America, and he continues to go on to be the best young male in the industry, although he is still unavailable to us. But he did pick up actually a rotator cuff injury and will be out for another month. So yeah, he had a 2-month injury there and will be back soon. And while we're at it, why don't we see if he wants to work in the USA yet? And he still says no. Okay, maybe we should try and get a deal with CMLL once again to try and bring him in, but we'll see. And next up, speaking of CMLL, Soledad Morales once again wins the Female Young Wrestler of the Year, somebody that is exclusive to CMLL and one of the regens of the Save, and was spawned in October 2024. And we've covered her before, and we know all about her at this point, and definitely one for the future in the world of wrestling. And then Male Veteran Wrestler of the Year went to Kevin Steen, and on the female side it went to Charlotte Flair, who is 41 now. As for Most Improved Company, it's actually Big Lucha in Mexico, who actually you saw on the screen for Exulua, recently signed him. So it looks like they've got a good roster there, with Vikingo being their top star as well. Next up we have Male Independent Wrestler of the Year, and it went to El Hijo de Vikingo. And yeah, it's understandable why. He's unbelievable on this game now. 91 aerial, 97 flashiness, and then fundamentals across the board are brilliant. And yeah, he's easily one of the best wrestlers in the world, and apparently the best wrestler in the world that doesn't have an exclusive contract. And then for Female Independent Wrestler of the Year, it went to Mayu Iwatani from Stardom, of course. And is she still with Stardom? Apparently not. She's with DDT and GANPRO, and she left Stardom in March 2026 and joined DDT and GANPRO there. As for Male Manager of the Year, it went to Stokely Hathaway. Is he still with AEW? And he is. And for Female Manager of the Year, it went to Angelina Love, who is currently in TNA. And I believe she won the award last year as well. And you can see there, yeah, that's 2 years in a row for Angelina. And Stokely Hathaway wins his second award of the Save after being tipped to the post by Paul Heyman last year. Male play-by-play is E.G. Tosaka in Japan, and he currently works for BJW and Seedling. And on the female side of things, it went to Veda Scott, who is currently actually a free agent, interestingly. And actually, she only has 60 play-by-plays. And for Male Colour Commentator of the Year, it went to MVP, who looks to have transitioned to that role in AEW, actually. And for Female Colour, it went to Trish Stratus, and I believe she's won that before. And Male Referee of the Year was Sparky Ballard, and Female Referee of the Year was Aubrey Edwards. And actually, before we get into our own awards, I've just noticed that Bandido looks to be leaving AEW, as apparently he's not being offered a contract extension. Now, I think Bandido is brilliant, and I would love to have him in the company. And yeah, he is confirmed to be leaving AEW, so I'm actually going to shortlist him, and that might be someone that we sign in the very near future. Look at that, 86 aerial, 85 basics, 87 stamina, so we can go all night long. He's charismatic, he's very athletic, safe worker as well, and pretty consistent. So yeah, maybe he could be someone that we pick up, maybe for the Veil if we bring him in as a heel. Apparently he is better as a babyface though, but he is a dynamo where he never holds back during matches. He loves the business, he's a people person. Yeah, okay, so maybe someone to watch even in this episode then, but we'll see how that goes. But with that said, we're not here for Bandido just yet. We're here to find out who won our company awards. So let's go to those then and find out who our Male Wrestler of the Year. And this year, I don't think unexpectedly, went to Viano Free Jr., this time dethroning Ryan Davidson. Now, this is the second year in a row that we've had awards with us not having enough matches for our wrestlers in the 2 years prior. But yeah, Viano Free Jr. there, I don't think anyone can argue with that. Has held the Junior Heavyweight Championship for the majority of the year. So if we go to his title history, he won the belt in September of 2026, so before the year started, and then held it until November. So 10 months he held the belt throughout the year and held it for over a year in his overall reign, making 8 defenses. And not only that, but he also won the Strong Style Roulette in March 2027 as well, defending his belt on the wheel. So yeah, big win there for Viano Free Jr. And as for Female Wrestler of the Year then, it went to Killer Kelly, who again, I don't think is much of a surprise. She's currently our top star in the company, according to the franchise players on the creative meeting. And she's held, once again, the Women's Championship for the majority of the year. She won it in December, right at the end there, and held it until November and lost it the same night as Viano. And Male Veteran of the Year this time was Eric Hammer, after Hala Wicked won it in 2026. And yeah, a solid wrestler for us, Eric Hammer, a good legitimate opponent for any heavyweight to build their way up. And yeah, I would say he's worthy of the award as well. As for his match history though, in 2027, he won 6 of his matches, drew 2 and lost 5. Now I would imagine a lot of those losses are maybe tag team matches. I don't think he lost singles matches too much, although he did pick up a loss to King Rex there at Strong Style 40, and there's a couple of other losses spread in there as well. Nicole Matthews has won Female Veteran of the Year, and she is of course somebody that lost the title to Killer Kelly in the year 2026, so she hasn't held the belt in 2027 when these awards are calculated, but apparently she's still the best veteran on the roster, and yes, she hasn't quite had the success that she had as champion, of course, in 2027, winning 9 matches but losing 8. Again, there was some tag team losses in there, but once again, there was some tag team wins as well. And as for match of the year, unsurprisingly, it was Kevin Blackwood defeating Viano Free Jr. for the Strong Style Junior Heavyweight Championship at Strong Style 14 Night 2 in the cage match, where he managed to win back his belt, of course. And this is the second year in a row that these two men have won match of the year, with Viano's win over Kevin Blackwood at Strong Style 30, winning the 2026 award. And also notice that Kevin Blackwood has been on all 4 matches of the year so far. And once again, no surprises here. This is our best ever match of the company history with a 79, and it's difficult to even come close to that going forward, even when we get to the next few sizes as well. And as for card of the year, it was Strong Style 14 Night 2. Once again, our best show ever, so no surprises there with a 76 rating. Male Manager of the Year wasn't awarded this time around because we don't have one, and Male Play-by-Play Commentator of the Year was Dave Prazak. And actually, just a note on the Manager of the Year, AJ Mendez would likely win the Female Manager of the Year now, but she hasn't appeared enough yet to be eligible, but I would imagine she's going to win the award in 2028. But let's get on to Play-by-Play Commentator of the Year, and this time it went to Dave Prazak, and once again he's our only male play-by-play commentator. But there was no award for Emi Sakura, interestingly, who is also on our commentary team, but Male Referee of the Year was this time won by Adrian Butler, who is our only referee, I believe, after we let go of Danilo Anfibio, who won the award last year. Right, so let's get into today's main bulk of the episode, where we're going to go forward and hold some shows. But before we do that, we do have something to cover, and you can see here that the production department currently has warnings regarding potential penalties. Now, this has occurred since we went up in size in the last episode, where we went to small from tiny, and this is because our battles are now different. So you can see here that we were in regional battles on our previous size, but now we're actually competing with companies that aren't even in our specific region, but companies that are the same size of us just in the United States. So you can see here that we're now being compared to the likes of GCW, MLW, NWA, Revolver, and even Reality of Wrestling there, who are our local rivals. But yeah, these are all promotions that are also small, but in the United States and not just the Mid-South. So we have a lot of competition now, and it's going to be difficult to stand out amongst the pack. And one of the ways we have to do this is by matching or bettering their production values. Now, I don't think we can currently afford to make too many upgrades to our production, and we definitely can't afford to match the best in each department as well. So every show that we run going forward, we'll see a penalty. I'm not sure how much by, but we're going to sort of test the waters. And for now, I'm quite happy just to take that hit without having to spend a fortune on making all of these upgrades. And let's go through how much it will cost us for each one then. So if we were to upgrade our production values, we would be spending $1,000 to do it, then $1,500 per month, plus $500 per night of shows. So we're looking at an additional $2,500 spend there if we were to keep 2 shows running, and that doesn't include the cost to upgrade. Comparing that to the $500 that we're currently spending per month and the $150 per night of shows, it's a big jump. And this all adds up when you take a look at live event experience, and we would have to spend $2,000 per night to upgrade this, compared to nothing right now, as we're using volunteers. For broadcast quality, we're currently spending $100 per night, so $200 a month, compared to $500 per night. So yeah, that's a 5x on that cost there. And for music, we're spending $100 per night currently, and to upgrade it would be $250. So it's more than a 2x there on that. So what we're going to do, as I say, is leave it as it is for now, take the hit, build up a bit more of a bank balance, and also build up our profit so that we can actually afford to do it. And I don't think we're going to be having any issues in terms of increasing in size, as we should still comfortably get shows that are well above 35, so we should still be seeing size increases, and I don't think it's going to be affected at all, to be honest. But it just means our show ratings aren't going to be as high as they once were until we can sort of equal our rivals in each department. But we mentioned profit before, and let's take a look at our profit for the month of December 2027 then, where we did only hold one show so that we could get to the new year. We have actually dropped from the last 3 months there, so making a profit of 7,104 compared to the almost 9,000 that we made in the month prior, then the almost 8,000 that we made in October, and the $7,500 that we made in September. But I think this is probably linked to having obviously less shows, because we normally make a profit on the night, which wouldn't have made the difference to equal last month, but still would have been enough to probably take us over September and October maybe. You can see here though that for sponsorship, we did see a big increase from 8,492 all the way to 9,305. And other than that, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. We held one less show, so we had less ticket sales, less broadcast revenue, and less merchandise. And then on the flip side, we had less worker costs, show costs, and production, of course. But we did actually spend more on marketing. I'd imagine that's because of the size increase that we went through. And we also are still upgrading our merchandise and spent around the same as we did last month. And if we actually take a look at our merchandise then, how are we looking? And for our upgrade, we are on 24% now as we look to go from level 4 to 5. And with that said, let's quickly take a look at our schedule. And in the last episode, I was talking about potentially bringing in a TV show where we tape 4 shows on one night, then air them over the coming 4 weeks. But I think I'm going to hold off on that just for now because as I say, the schedule is sort of awkward to work around, and I'm quite happy with the way we're running right now. I've just noticed there that propaganda was moved to the wrong date, so let's quickly adjust that, and that should be on the 19th. And we will be keeping things as they are right now. So you can see here that on Wednesday, the 5th of January, we're going to hold the main Strong Style show. The only person that will be missing is Persephone, and then Strong Style Propaganda will go down on the 19th of January. And once again, Persephone is the only person that will be missing, but I do believe her contract would have expired by that point. So yeah, we're just going to carry on as we are. I think we're growing nicely, and we're hitting, at least we were on the previous size, hitting our popularity cap for the Mid-South. Now, if we find that we run both of these shows and we go up in popularity in the Mid-South twice, that shows that there's potentially more room to grow, at which point we'll think about bringing in a television show, which again will help aid our popularity growth even further. But for now, we're going to leave it as it is and see if we grow in popularity on the upcoming 2 shows. Now, previously, we would grow in popularity in the Mid-South on the Strong Style show, and then on the Propaganda show, we wouldn't grow in the Mid-South because we hit the cap. So now that we're at a new size, let's test out whether that cap has now been increased for growth within a month. And actually, before we get into the show, I want to go back to the awards part of the episode, I guess. And we're going to take a look at the top 500 wrestlers in the world, or the Power 500. And we actually have 6 wrestlers that make the list this time around. Now, if we take a look last year, we actually only had 1 at the time of checking before later signing Tyler Bate and Thunder Rosa. But this time we have Tyler Bate, Thunder Rosa, and Shaft once again coming in at 282, 346, and 498. But we also have Killer Kelly making the list this time around at number 400. Viano Free Jr. now goes onto the list at 405. So his improvement is very much showing there, and is our only exclusive wrestler, so it's good to see him on there, as is Kevin Blackwood, of course, our current junior heavyweight champion who defeated Viano at Strong Style 40. So yeah, really good progress overall in terms of getting our wrestlers recognized globally. But let's take a look at actually the top 10 of the overall list then. As we know, Christian Casanova or Carmelo Hayes tops the list, followed by Gunther and Drew McIntyre. Ilya Dragunov is right at the top once again in 4th place. Down from 2nd last time around though. Kevin Owens is on there, Io Sky, Bron Breakker, Tiffany Stratton, all WWE in the top 8 before Konosuke Takeshita is in at number 9, coming in as AEW's first name on the list. And Seth Rollins finishes off the top 10. And once again, we're going to be giving nobody the night off. And we're going to be using Emos as our venue, as always. And for broadcasters, once again, use all 4. And let's go to the booking team meeting then, where we have generated 188 creative energy, which leaves us a total of 277. although we have been capped at 250 as expected. So let's spend some of this energy then so we don't cap out once again next time around. And we're going to buy a angle idea to see if we can get something maybe for AJ Mendez or Steve Austin, and we've got one likely to succeed for anyone, so that's good. And let's get a creative finish as well while we're here. So we've got one that's a bit of a gamble, and let's grab another one as well while we're here. And we've got one for Miranda Elise, that's again a big gamble. Now I'm not sure if we're going to use those, but let's get one more, see if we can get a safe one. And yeah, we do. A safe bet involving Killer Kelly, so that will probably be used tonight or on an upcoming show. And why not grab a character idea as well to see if we can give someone some momentum or even a morale boost. So yeah, one that's a safe bet for anyone. We'll use that in just a second. But let's go to locker room incidents then, where we have head trainer Emi Sakura running drills with Zeta Zhang and also Casey Jacobs. And apparently Hyan and Joseph Finnick Jr. have been hanging out a lot recently. And that's all for incidents. So nothing major there. And what we're going to do now for team meeting is maybe pull a rib and try and get some morale into the locker room. And we maybe do it on someone that's really happy, but not volatile in terms of their personality. So Stephen Wolf is pleased and he's got a balanced / neutral personality type. So let's rib him and see what happens. And the rib went down well with the rest of the locker room. And yeah, Stephen Wolf thought it was pretty funny and has taken it in good humor. So that's good to see. And now let's use that character idea. I think we're going to use it to try and boost some morale once again. So let's find out who's in the negative as we continually battle morale issues. But now we're only down to 4 people that are unhappy. So that's good to see. Now we've got 2 that are irritated. So we've got LJ Cleary and Eric Hammer, as well as MV Young and Trish Adora, who are annoyed. Now, I think we recently did one on Trish Adora, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, in October. I think we're either going to do Eric Hammer or LJ Cleary, though, because they're closer to the green. So it'll take one person off this negative list here. And I think we're going to go with LJ Cleary because Eric Hammer has very hot momentum and LJ Cleary only has hot momentum. And it was a success. And he's no longer on the negative morale list. Let's see what his morale is now. And he's got red hot momentum and normal morale. So only 3 unhappy people in the company. And how does that translate to our backstage environment then? And yeah, we've actually now got a good locker room morale. I believe last time we checked it was normal. But yeah, overall we're now in the green, helped by the minor rib that we pulled tonight, as well as obviously having less unhappy people. And we've also got a lot of relationships in the locker room now as well, following the signing of the Renegade twins, who are proteges of Thunder Rosa, of course, and the relationship between the 2 sisters is of course helping things as well. So great stuff there. And with that said, I think that's everything else that we need to do before the show. So let's book it. Right, so let's go through the card then. And we're going to start off with a dark match between the Dojo Demons, that being Janai Kai and Zaya Chow, versus Delilah Doom and Marty Bell, so 2 local workers, as well as the new team of Nicole Matthews and Trish Adora. Now with this building towards the Women's Tag Team Championships, I'm just trying out a new babyface tag team. Now Nicole Matthews does have tag team experience with Hyan, and we recently put them in a match, and we're going to try Nicole and Trish Adora as well. Then we open the main show with Miranda Elise defending her Women's Championship against Thunder Rosa, this being her first defense since defeating Killer Kelly at Strong Style 40, and of course she's taking on Killer Kelly's tag team partner Thunder Rosa tonight. The Renegade twins Charlotte and Robin will then make their debut, as again we continue to build up the women's tag team division, and they will be taking on 2 local workers, Black Swan and Christy Janes. Steve Austin will then be making an announcement regarding the upcoming Strong Style Roulette, which was announced last month, before MV Young demands some respect. Now you'd imagine those 2 things are linked, and that will lead into a match for Young to prove that he deserves the respect that he's asking for. And then we've got a hell of a main event as well, as Tyler Bate and Kevin Blackwood, who will be going one-on-one for the Junior Heavyweight Championship in the near future, with Bate earning his #1 contendership at Strong Style 40 and Blackwood winning the belt at Strong Style 40, with those 2 also being the contenders to be the Junior Heavyweight member of Hate, and they will go up against the Vales, Viano Free Jr. and Joseph Finneck Jr. And of course Strong Style 41 ended with Tyler Bate and Kevin Blackwood going face to face before the Vale tried to attack from the crowd, and they were cut off by Killer Kelly and Michael Dante. And yeah, we're still building towards who is the new member of Hate, and we're going to continue that tonight in the main event. So let's run the show and see how things progress, as we start off with the dark match, which got a 52, so not too bad at all, as the Dojo Demons defeated Delilah Doom and Marty Bell, as well as Nicole Matthews and Trish Adora in 9 minutes 32 when Janai Kai pinned Delilah Doom. And we actually have a green here for Dave Prazak and Allison Danger getting pretty good chemistry when calling matches together, which is definitely good. As for the best wrestler in the match, Nicole Matthews got a 55, followed by Trish Adora with a 54. Janai Kai got a 53, so not far behind at all, with Zaya Chow then coming in with a 48 and a 33 for Marty Bell, and Delilah Doom got a 31. So not too bad for local workers, and we've got some more greens there for the commentary team as well, giving us a 52 overall, and a good start to the show. And then we actually go into the main show then and open up with that championship match, as in a technical masterclass with great heat and good wrestling, Miranda Alize defeats Thunder Rosa in 14 minutes 54 by pinfall using the ropes for leverage. Classic veil tactics there from Alize to make defense number 1 of her title reign. And Killer Kelly is at ringside for this one, but doesn't get involved in the match, but is just observing the person that defeated her for the belt, that being Alize. And Miranda Alize got a 51, but was outdone actually by Thunder Rosa with a 55, and the Veil Emerges storyline has advanced but lost heat. Miranda Alize was apparently really off her game, which is a shame, and her gimmick is actually getting stale, so I need to take note of that, and we'll tweak that after the show. And yeah, we once again got the chemistry thing between Prazak and Danger, which is great to see, and we got a 58 to open the show. And yeah, not Miranda Alize's best performance, but for whatever reason she was off her game. And then we go into the women's tag team match in the Renegade Twins' debut, and they have defeated Black Swan and Christy Janes in 10 minutes 46 when Charlotte Renegade pinned Black Swan. And Black Swan was the weak link in this one with a 21. Christy Janes not too bad with a 31, but the Renegade Twins both got a 45 each, and both of their gimmicks got a very good as well, that being the Get You Some gimmick. And Charlotte Renegade and Robin Renegade had a great chemistry when teaming together, which is definitely really good for the division going forward. And they also got a tag team specialist bonus as well, which is how we found them in the first place. And actually Black Swan and Christy Janes had great chemistry when teaming together, that being 2 local workers. And that definitely gives us food for thought as to whether we bring them in full time for the upcoming tag team division, potentially just as jobbers. But I think Black Swan's performance being still at 21, despite the chemistry, is a bit of a red flag, but we'll definitely think about it, and maybe with some popularity boosts for her, she could start pulling off some higher performances, but we'll see going forward. And yeah, once again, we've got the commentary boost with Prazak and Danger, and some of the greens there as well for you to check out. But overall, a 42, so not too bad for their debut. And next up, we go to a video, and following confirmation that Wardlow will defend his Strong Style Heavyweight Championship in the Strong Style Showdown, Steve Austin announces via a video package that the tournament will begin later this month at the kickoff show. He then confirms that alongside Wardlow, Alex Kane, King Rex, Marshall Von Erich, Ryan Davidson and Schaff will compete, and this leaves 2 empty slots in the tournament that will be filled on the night. And this got a 38, so not brilliant, but yeah, it seemed to be dragged down by the popularity of the wrestlers. So all of the wrestlers were subject of a video within the angle, and Steve Austin was cutting a promo. And yeah, 38, so not too bad, but not great either. And next up, following the Strong Style Roulette participants announcement, MV Young storms down the ring without music, with a microphone in his hand. He states that he is continually disrespected by management and he demands a spot in the tournament. And then Steve Austin interrupts him and says that if Young wants to be in the tournament, he has to end his losing streak tonight. And Marshall Von Erich then makes his way to the ring for a match. And apparently the performance of Steve Austin here was fantastic, but the angle idea that we did use was a failure, which is a shame. That was the one that we gained earlier in the night. And yes, some greens for the commentary as well, which is good to see. And overall, a 56, so a solid promo in the grand scheme of things. And hopefully giving MV Young and Marshall Von Erich a bit of a rub with Steve Austin there. And then we go into the match itself though, as we're starting to light a fire under Marshall Von Erich as he picks up his second win in the company, defeating MV Young in 10 minutes 26 with a pinfall with a moonsault. And Marshall Von Erich here got a 56, a great performance from him, and MV Young had an in-ring performance of 43. And again, we have one green there from the commentary, but overall we got a 57. So yeah, solid heavyweight match here, definitely helped by Von Erich's performance as he heads into the Strong Style Roulette with a win and some momentum over the disrespected MV Young. So let's continue then and see how we get on in the main event, as we get a 76 overall. And I was expecting big numbers here tonight with Bate, Blackwood and Viano in the same match. But let's break it down then, as Tyler Bate and Kevin Blackwood have defeated the Veil in 13 minutes 56, when Tyler Bate, the number one contender for the Junior Heavyweight Championship, pinned Joseph Fenech Jr. with a Tyler Driver 97. And the match was designed so that the wrestlers could steal the show, and once again they did just that. And during the match we did have interference from Miranda Alize, who cheated to retain her title earlier in the night, and she was accidentally hit by Fenech Jr. Kevin Blackwood had an in-ring performance of 69, which is nice. Tyler Bate had an in-ring performance of 69, which is also nice. And Viano Free Jr. had a nice performance of 69 as well, and Joseph Fenech Jr. got a 49. And yeah, overall a great match, and the Veil Emerges storyline has gained heat with this one, that despite Viano Free Jr. being really off his game apparently, which is very rare for him, but we'll let him off for one night only. And yeah, a great main event which should carry us to a solid rating. However, how much will that rating be affected by our lower production values than our national rivals? Let's find out. And overall, we got a 61. So yeah, you can see that we actually have 4 reds here for production values, live event experience level, broadcast quality, and music. So it might be worth bumping 1 or 2 of these production levels up, but we'll have a look at that after the show. But still, overall, we did increase in popularity in 24 regions, which is really solid and shows that even if we do take the hit on production, we can still improve across the globe. So let's continue then as we address the locker room, and I'm going to praise some of the losers on tonight's card. And I'm actually going to praise MV Young, who was on the losing side of a match tonight, and we're going to praise him for a great performance. And he does also have negative morale, so maybe that'll give him a little bit of a boost. And we're also going to praise Thunder Rosa, who wasn't happy about her loss tonight when we told her that she was going to lose, and we had to keep her strong, so that probably affected the performance as well of that match, and is part of the reason why it opened the show rather than closed it. And we'll also actually praise Joseph Fenech Jr. as well, who was okay in his match too, and MV Young is pleased, so is Thunder Rosa, and so is Fenech Jr. And as for financial report then, there was quite a few people off the show tonight, none of our major stars, but has it meant that we've made a good profit? And it has, as we've made $1,576 with over $10,000 on ticket sales. So yeah, we're now actually really close to the $50,000 mark, which we will hit by the end of the month and potentially within the coming days, which is a great milestone for us, as we hopefully can sort of hit the 100,000 mark by the end of the year. But maybe up in the production values might slow that growth down a little bit, but we'll see. But we did grow in the Mid-South to 36, which I believe means it's 2 shows in a row where we've gone up by 1. And everywhere else did remain the same though. And we actually have some big news coming out of AEW, as you can see here, as apparently Tony Khan feared for his life after a huge row with Blake Christian backstage at the recent AEW show. And yeah, it looks like Blake Christian's days in AEW are coming to an end. But all jokes aside, before I forget, let's quickly tweak Miranda Alize's gimmick before we forget. So let's do that and see if we can get rid of that staleness that we saw before. And actually, let's go back to the production values and take a look if there's anything that we can improve to have us have less hits on our rating. So I'm assuming that they are accumulative. So what we're going to do is find out which ones will only require us to go up by 1 level. So we don't want to sort of double jump any of them just yet. And then find out from those which ones are the cheapest. So let's find out. So with production values, we have to go from 2 to 3. And if we were to go up by 1, that would take us to semi-pro. So let's take a look at if that would remove our penalty. And it wouldn't actually, because you can see here that Reality of Wrestling are professional. So we would have to go up by 2. So I think we're going to leave that one for now. Now, how about live event experience? So if we were to improve on that, we would go to small, which would actually equal all of our rivals. Okay, so that might be worth doing then. And that would cost $2,000 per night of shows. So that would actually see us lose money for every show. So let's put that one on hold for now and find out what broadcast quality that we can get to. So it looks like, yeah, there's a few that are higher than us. So you can see here that hired pro, which I assume is higher than semi-pro, would mean we'd have to go up at least by 2 levels on broadcast quality. So we're going to leave that. And how about music though? We would need to be at local to match Reality of Wrestling. And that would actually only be $250 per night. So I think we're actually just going to do this one and go for that. So we'd still be making a profit on shows, but we would take away 1 of the penalties that we're seeing. And yeah, you can see now that's no longer red. And yeah, you can see there that we are better than the majority of the national rivals now. Now, if we were to make one more improvement, as I say, it would be to live event experience, which would go from level 1 to 2, but it would cost an extra $2,000 per night. And currently, because we're using volunteers, we're not paying anything. But the upgrade is free, but yeah, it's going to cost our profit at shows. So what I might do is wait until we're making $2,000 at least per show for tickets and merchandise on the night, and then do it so that we're always making a profit for every show. And actually, let's quickly check how that match compares to our greatest ever match, that being the tag team match that we just held. And we got a 76. So there you can see it, Tyler Bate and Kevin Blackwood defeating The Veil. And it is now our 5th best match ever, behind the junior heavyweight ladder match at Strong Style 40, the Miranda Elise Killer Kelly match at Strong Style 40, Tyler Bate versus Matt Riddle, of course, at Strong Style 41, and the Kevin Blackwood versus Viano Free junior cage match at Strong Style 40. And as mentioned in the show itself, we do have 2 open spots in the Strong Style Roulette for the heavyweight division. So that means that we are actually going to make 2 new signings. And I don't know whether they're going to be sticking around for the long term, but in any case, they will be fresh names on the roster. Well, kind of fresh, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. But the first name that we're going to bring in is Channing Thomas. So I've been doing some scouting off screen, and he seems like a pretty good pickup, and will be someone that we test out short term, and then if he's a success, we'll keep him around. So you can see here that he's 29 years old, works for Beyond and Reality of Wrestling. He's 6'4", 265 pounds, so he fits well into the heavyweight division. And you can see here that he's got 86 basics, 77 consistency, 77 safety, 72 psychology, and also 60 brawling. So he's pretty solid across the board. And yeah, he's still young and could definitely improve going forward. And he will cost us $800 per show, but we're going to try and bring that down just a bit to $700. And we're actually going to offer him a 3-month contract and then potentially renew it at the end if he does well. So we're going to offer this and see what he says. And he does need his travel covered. And actually he's asking for $710. So we're going to meet him at that. And he also wants some merchandise. So we'll try 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%. And apparently he wants even more. So 25% should be enough. And that's surprising because I didn't realize he had such high popularity. But yeah, apparently he's 45 across the board, pretty much in the United States. It's got 46 there in New England, and Puerto Rico and Hawaii is 42. But yeah, he's actually pretty popular. As for his attributes, he's easily marketable, which will be handy when we start to make wrestler-specific merchandise. He's a fitness fanatic, which means he's always going to be in shape. And he's also a heel. Now, Channing won't be coming in alone, as I've decided to bring in a manager for him. And why not go for the very best and hire the best female manager in the world, Angelina Love? So that's what we're going to do. She currently works for TNA on a handshake deal, and her most important skill for management is charisma, and she has 97 charisma, which is why she's picked up 2 awards over the last 2 years for Female Manager of the Year. And she also has a hot new catchphrase, which will help in her segments. And yeah, she's going to come in as a heel alongside, as I say, Channing Thomas. And we're going to offer her $600 per show, and this time it will also be a 3-month deal just to match up with her client, and she actually wants $630, so I'm happy to meet that. And she doesn't require travel, but she does want some more merchandise cut, so we're going to offer 10% and see what she says. And how about 15? No, 20? Apparently not. So 25, and even that's too low. How about 30? And actually, yeah, she's mentioned something about her physical ability, and she is retired now, so we will say that she will never be involved in in-ring work to get rid of that warning. And yeah, that deal is now done, and that means we now have one spot left to fill in the roulette, and this means the return of Matt Riddle. Now, of course, he did recently return for one match and was supposed to be in the junior heavyweight ladder match at Strong Style 40, but he ended up being busy that night with AAA, and instead competed at Strong Style 41 in a singles match where he lost to Tyler Bate. Now, I think that Riddle is close enough to the weight limit for the heavyweight division, with him having to be at least 220 pounds, and he's 216, so yeah, he will be the first person to cross over in the series, I believe, from one division to another. And as we mentioned when we signed him last time around, he is somebody from the original series of Strong Style Amsterdam, and this was before he was even in WWE, and he was hot off the press of being a UFC fighter, and sort of had that legitimate aspect about him, which is why we signed him. And yeah, we're going to bring him back and see how he gets on. It's going to be interesting because he does have an unpredictable personality. He's a drinker, hard drug user, heavy social media user, heavy soft drug user, as well as a horn dog as well. And there's a lot of things on here that could potentially be negatives, but we're going to test him out in the heavyweight division nonetheless. So we're going to try and bring his contract down as much as possible, because we do have to pay $100 travel, because he now lives in Mexico, having been a regular with AAA for quite a while. So yeah, we're going to try and offer $1,000 to begin with and go from there. So we'll go for that. We'll also make this one a 3-month deal just to see out the tournament and potentially some of the matches after. We'll probably have to offer some merchandise percentage, so we're going to do that and start at 10. It'll probably be more than that though. And we will of course have to cover his travel as mentioned, because he's in Mexico. And we will make this the initial offer and see what happens. So he wants around $1,200, which is less than what we were projected to have to pay by $100. So we're going to match that and go from there. So he does want some more merchandise, so 15% isn't enough. How about 20? And apparently not, so how about 25? And yeah, he's actually happy with that. But yeah, we will go with that then, and we'll be bringing him in for the heavyweight division. And once he does sign, we're going to ask if he wants to gain weight to try and actually get him over the weight cap. But if not, we'll just kayfabe it and say that he is a heavyweight regardless, because I think he's close enough. So yeah, let's get those 3 contracts signed then and skip forward. And we now do have the decision to make on Channing Thomas. Before we get there though, we have an update on Pac and his AEW contract. So the headline is Pac gone, and the rumour mill has shot into life with indications that AEW have not offered a contract extension to Pac and have instead said that he is free to leave when his current deal expires. Now this is absolutely huge. And we discussed the potential signing of Bandido earlier in the video, but if it's between Pac and Bandido, there's only one choice for me, and that is going with the Geordie boy, who is unbelievable on this game. 84 aerial, 87 flashiness, 85 basics, 99 stamina, 90 athleticism, 83 for selling, consistency and safety. Great on the mic as well, good charisma, and yeah, definitely somebody to watch going forward. He's a stud athlete, he's driven, a dynamo as well, so he doesn't hold back. Fitness fanatic, so he's always going to be in shape. He loves the business as well, and while he will cost $2,100, yeah, I definitely think we're going to pick him up in the very near future. If not in this episode, it might be in the next one. But in any case, we first have to deal with Channing Thomas, who we're going to confirm the signing of, and now we just await Angelina Love and Matt Riddle. And we can now confirm the signing of Matt Riddle, who will be coming in as a face, I think. Now, if we just check his attributes once again, he can play either, so I'm actually going to think about that one before he actually makes his debut. But for now, we'll set it to face, and we can change that in the future. And we're going to keep his bro gimmick as well, which is a swagger gimmick, and apply that from the last time he appeared for us recently. And now let's just get Angelina in. Okay, so there we have it then. Angelina Love has been confirmed as signing. That means that we can apply her to be Channing Thomas's manager. So let's do that now. And let's make sure we add him to the heavyweight division, the same as Matt Riddle as well. And let's save that. Right, so the confirmed field for the Strong Style Roulette is as follows then. We've got Alex Kane, who is on a hell of a run. We've got debutant Channing Thomas, King Rex, who recently won a feud with Eric Hammer. Marshall Von Erich is also in the tournament with Matt Riddle. Former heavyweight champion Ryan Davidson. Schaff, who's still looking to break through, as well as, of course, heavyweight champion Wardlow. Now, some notable omissions from the tournament are Eric Hammer, who I feel should be saved for this one, as at some point he would lose in the tournament, and I want to kind of protect him off the back of the King Rex feud. And MV Young, of course, isn't in the tournament because he lost to Marshall Von Erich. And Michael Dante also isn't in the tournament, as I feel like he doesn't necessarily have to be at this point. And he has some other business to deal with within Hate anyway. But one thing I have been reading about is the production, and I was reading through the help bit earlier on in between recordings, and I found out basically that the further away you are from the top level in each of these categories, the more penalty you receive. Say, for example, we're 2 steps behind Reality of Wrestling and TNA, actually, who I've just noticed are now on this list in production value. That means that you would take twice the hit on that particular penalty. So what we're going to try and do is try and find out the next cheapest option in terms of an upgrade. Even if it doesn't take us to equal with the best, it will still help our ratings going forward. So first we're going to take a look at production values then. And as we saw earlier, this is pretty expensive. It will cost $1,000 up front, $1,500 per month, plus $500 per show. So ideally we don't want to do that just yet. It will cost $2,000 per night of shows to improve the live event experience, and for broadcast quality, it's actually only $500 per night with no upfront fee. So that looks to be the next cheapest option, and of course we don't actually need to upgrade music because we're already on par with all of our rivals. So I think we're going to upgrade our broadcast quality to semi-pro, which will mean that we use a single hard cam to film shows from a wide angle, plus 2 roving cameramen to get closer to the action. So we're going to do that, and whilst we are still behind, as I say, we're not as far behind as what we were before. And if we were to make the next upgrade, it would cost $2,500 per night of shows. So yeah, $2,000 on top of what we're already paying. So we're going to hold off on that one for now. And yeah, in this episode, we've made 2 upgrades, one to the music and one to the broadcast quality. Oh, and also we need to ask Matt Riddle if he's up for a weight gain. So let's speak to him and see what he says. So I'd like you to gain weight. And he says, no, I don't want to do that. Let's try again. And no, he still says no. Right, that's fine then. But yeah, we could just kayfabe it and say that he's over the 220 limit. And yeah, as I say, he is close enough. And actually, I've just noticed as well that he is currently annoyed in the company, and he's furious at being left off Strong Style 40. Now, of course, he wasn't used on night 1 and was supposed to be used on night 2. And then when night 2 came around, he was busy with AAA, which is my bad. I should have checked. But when we scheduled it, it was before we made the signings. But hopefully we can sort of add some more positives to his morale and outweigh the negative there pretty soon. And we'll try maybe a character idea on him. I don't think we currently have one, but we can gain one in the next creative meeting. And speaking of the next creative meeting then, let's skip forward to the show, which will be going down in 7 days. And I say that, and before I continued, I actually checked the schedule once again. And whilst it said earlier that only Persephone would be missing the upcoming show of Propaganda, which actually we need to change, it now says Wardlow will be unavailable. Now, I forgot to mention on the last show that it did the same for Strong Style 42. So when we checked earlier in the episode, it only said Persephone was going to be missing, but then suddenly an NWA show popped up. And yeah, he missed it, which is why he wasn't on the card, but it was part of a video package. So what we might need to try and do is tie Wardlow down to an exclusive contract. Now, there's potential that we get rival offers from NWA, but my thought is that I don't think they're going to offer out exclusive contracts. So worst comes to worst, they do compete with us and he ends up leaving, but we do have the Strong Style Roulette coming up in the next month, so we can just have him eliminated. But ideally, we want to keep him around because he is the heavyweight champion. So I think we're actually going to try and offer out our second ever exclusive contract then, and lock Wardlow down for the next sort of 2 years, I think I'm going to go with. And that will give us some time to sort of transition him out with him now being at the age of 39. But I think we can build him up as such a dominant force that it puts somebody over huge once they eventually beat him. So yeah, we're going to keep him around for a little bit longer. So we're going to try and find out what he's going to be happy with then. So we're going to try $800 at first, which is what he's asking for, although he is currently on $900, so his value has dropped. We're going to try and offer 10% merchandise. I don't believe he needs travel, but we'll find out in just a second. And let's make the offer then and see what he says. So financially becoming exclusive to you would not be a smart move. I am not interested in this offer. So we're going to try 900 and see what he says. And again, he says he's not interested. So how about $1,000, Wardlow? And we don't want to go too high here, but let's sort of see what his limit is. So how about 1,050? And again, he says no. So 1,100, I think, will probably be our last offer. But maybe we'll go up to 1.2 if we have to. We'll try 1.15 then and see what he says. And actually, he is happy with those terms and says that we would need to pay his travel. So we're happy to do that. And yeah, that deal looks to be confirmed then. 2 years. $1,150 per show, and the big man will be hopefully freed up, at least for the next 2 years, as the current heavyweight champion. So let's get that agreed, and let's hope that NWA don't come in with an exclusive contract offer of their own and outbid us, but we'll find out in the coming days, and hopefully before the next show. So let's get him locked down. But first, what we need to do is delay this month's propaganda show to next month, so we'll make it the second Wednesday of February. And now we need to bring back the Strong Style Roulette show to January 2028 and apply that for the 19th. And we'll make it active instead of dormant. And for ticket pricing, we're going to set it to default instead of normal, just so we're using our standard ticket pricing. And everything else, I think, can just stay the same. And actually, we're going to fix the venue as well to emos like I have with the other events off camera. Let's just do that then. And I'm going to skip forward 1 day to see if NWA respond to our offer. So we do have an email about a counter offer from the NWA, so let's see if we can find out what that is. So let's go into here and go to view rival offer, but I actually can't see that. And it does say here, no other companies have outstanding contract offers. Any recent offers have already been rejected. Okay, so it looks like he wasn't happy with the terms immediately. And actually, yeah, I've misread that. It says Wardlow rival bid fails. Okay, good. As I said, I did misread that. So let's continue then and try and get this contract signed before the Strong Style Roulette kickoff show. Okay, so there we have it then. It appears that the contract can be signed. So let's get that done. And that will mean that Wardlow will leave NWA in the future. But now we just need to find out how long it's going to take for him to actually leave. So we can see here that he's got 30 days left in the company. Now, does that mean that we delay the Strong Style Roulette by a month just to free him up? Or is he now prioritizing us with his schedule? Well, let's find out. Wardlow is now no longer unavailable for us, but will that change on the night? We will have to see. But if he does suddenly appear for NWA again, then I don't know what we're going to do. But it looks like our exclusive contract offer has given us priority, although it does warn us there that on Wednesday the 26th, Wardlow won't be available. But what we can confirm from that as well is that Persephone is now gone from Strong Style, unfortunately. Now, I was looking forward to using her, but apparently she's unavailable pretty much all the time with her CMLL schedule, and competing for them to sign her on an exclusive deal probably would be a bad idea because they'd probably tie her down to an exclusive contract themselves. And what I've just noticed as well is a new promotion has started, the HWGP, the Headline Wrestling Grand Prix, and this promotion is based in Europe. Now, I've noticed this as 3 of the European talents that we have shortlisted are actually signing with the company, which is interesting, and we'll see how their growth goes in the Mediterranean going forward. And they are booked by Taka Michinoku and owned by Roberto Bori. And we've stopped on the day of the show, and we have some very, very good news coming out of AEW. Now, Malachi Black's contract is ending, and there's no news currently of a contract extension offer. Now, does that mean that he's set to leave the company? Let's take a look. And he is confirmed to be leaving AEW, according to his profile. Now, that is great news, because if we take a look at the goals that we set at the start of the series, signing Malachi Black is one of them. And the reason is pretty simple. The company originated in Amsterdam, and Malachi Black was born in Amsterdam, and he's the biggest Dutch wrestler, I believe, of all time. Now, of course, the user character that we're using, Michael Dante, is a former tag team partner of Malachi Black as the Sumerian Death Squad with 100 experience, and they very much were tied to each other as brothers, essentially, before the then Tommy End signed with WWE. And it looks like they could be set to be reunited. Now, would he be willing to speak to us? And apparently he would. Okay, that is interesting. And by the way, we've currently got a storyline as to who the next member of Hate will be. Will it be Kevin Blackwood, one of our own? Will it be Tyler Bate, the original junior heavyweight member of Hate? Or maybe we can throw a spanner into the works, and could it be Malachi Black, the sinister Dutchman, and the former tag team partner of Michael Dante? And I'm just throwing it out there that that's definitely a storyline idea that we could build towards. Or maybe the two feud, maybe we have 2 new members of Hate, maybe we even have 3 new members of Hate, who knows? And we'll see how that one plays out going forward. And we will keep an eye on his contract status and hope that WWE doesn't come in and sweep him away from us. But for now, we do have the heavyweight division to deal with, and we've got a show tonight for the Strong Style Roulette kickoff show. And you can see there that Wardlow is now unavailable, so I'm not sure what's going on there with NWA and their schedule. But it looks like we're going to have to rearrange the show then, and we're going to move it to Saturday the 22nd just to make sure that we can have the world champion on the night. Now, I was kind of worried that it would say he's available, but then when I actually get to the show itself, he wasn't. But at least we've noticed it beforehand and rearranged that for Saturday night, which will be Saturday the 22nd. So let's go with that then. Right, so we are at the show finally, and we're not going to give anybody the night off once again, but we will ensure that all of our major stars are on the show tonight. Probably in the dark matches, unless they're in the tournament, of course, and then they'll be on the main show themselves. And we'll also probably try and make sure that everybody that wasn't on the last Strong Style show is also in a dark match. Maybe we'll do a battle royal or something like that. But as I say, nobody will be getting the night off, and everybody will be coming in, and everybody is available this time around. And as for venue, of course, we need to use Emos as the venue. And of course, we're going to use all 4 broadcasters. You already know that at this point. And we're also going to try and get a character idea for Matt Riddle and hopefully try and cheer him up a little bit. And this one's a big gamble for anybody. I think we're going to actually discard that one and try and get more of a safe one. And this one's a bit of a gamble. Again, we're going to have to discard it and try and get a solid one. And this one's likely to succeed for Kevin Blackwood, so we're going to do that. And we're also going to try and get one more. And this one's a big gamble for Wardlow, so we're going to have to discard that one as well. How much do we have left? And we don't have enough to buy any more. That was a bit of a waste, but let's continue. And as for locker room incidents then, there's been some talk backstage of how much Casey Jacobs is being influenced by Alex Kane. Okay, so Alex Kane is professional, so that can't be a bad thing, so let's continue. MV Young brightened the backstage area simply by being so cheerful and fun to be around. That being because of his lively personality, of course. And yeah, despite being a bit grumpy on screen, he seems to be brightening the mood. And Charlotte Renegade lifted the locker room when she organised and then won a video game tournament, which is great to see. Emi Sakura has been training with Zayda Zhang and Casey Jacobs, and that's all for incidents. As for addressing the locker room then, I don't know whether we're going to inspire, because maybe we save that for the show that the final will be going down on, but maybe we do some team bonding instead and try and build some relationships. So let's do that. And some were strengthened, but there were new tensions between Matt Riddle and Adrian Butler, as well as AJ Mendez and Marshall Von Erich, AJ Mendez and Ryan Davidson, and Angelina Love and Matt Riddle. But yeah, there was more strengthened than damaged, so that's good to see. And we may as well apply that character idea for Kevin Blackwood while we're here. He's got white hot momentum already, so he doesn't really need it, but it might give him a morale boost and make him even more happy. So let's deploy that. And yeah, it was a success, and he's still happy. So that's great to see. And actually, this is very strange because it picks and chooses when it wants people to be in. And it doesn't warn me ahead of time for some reason, but apparently Dave Prazak and Trish Adora are now working Ring of Honor. So yeah, this is weird. I don't know why it's not telling me if people are scheduled or not. I keep getting caught out by it. But let me just double check that we have a play-by-play and a colour, because I believe that we might only have 2 colour commentators. Because I think, isn't Dave the play-by-play? So we might not even have one on board tonight, which is a bit annoying. So let's find out if I can find the button. There it is. Okay. So Dave Prazak is, our play-by-play. Alison Danger and Emi Sakura, a 0 for that. Okay. So we're going to have to try and replace him for tonight, but who with? Because I don't think we have anyone that can actually do it. So we're actually just going to set play-by-play to 1 on the search and see who pops up. And yeah, literally Dave Prazak is the only person that can do it. So is there anybody in local workers? I believe Scott Stamford might be able to step in, but we're going to once again just set the filter to 1 for play-by-play and look at our options. So yeah, Scott Stamford's there, as well as Jacob Hammermeyer. Okay, so Jacob has 37 and Scott Stamford has 52. So we're going to bring in Scott Stamford and negotiate a deal for him. So $270 for him, and we're going to bring him in just for the night, of course. And we also just need to remember to make sure to reassign Dave Prazak after the show, because it will take him out of the team until we add him back. So yeah, let's save Scott Stanford in there for now. And we're actually going to lose the chemistry with Dave Prazak and Alison Danger for tonight, but that's not the end of the world. But with that said, let's break down how the Strong Style Roulette will work then, for those of you that might have forgotten or just want a refresh. But I'm sure by now, if you're on episode 22, you've probably seen a roulette or 2 in your time. But let's go through it though, as we're going to hold obviously tonight the Strong Style Roulette kickoff show, and this will see 4 elimination matches, with the winners advancing through to the next round, to the semi-final, which will go down at Strong Style 42, and the winners of those will then go through to the final at Strong Style 43. Now the twist is that in every round there will be a championship match. So the champion of the division that's participating will make a defense. So if they win the championship quarterfinal, they will go through to the championship semi-final. But if the challenger wins, they will go through to the championship semi-final as the defending champions. And the same thing in the semi-final, the winner of the championship semi-final will go through to the championship final, and the winner of the championship final leaves as the champion. So in theory, there could be 3 title changes within one tournament. And of course, each match within the tournament is based on the spin of a wheel, so it's completely random. This has got nothing to do with me booking it. It's not a work or anything like that. This is a shoot wheel, and yeah, I don't know what the matches are going to be before each round, just as much as you don't. And all 7 challengers find themselves on the wheel, so we're going to draw 1 by 1, and the first person who gets picked will face the second person that gets picked, etc, etc, and the last person left on the wheel will be the one that receives the championship match. As you'll notice that Wardlow, the heavyweight champion, isn't on here. So let's spin it then and find out who the first match will be. And we've got some interesting names on the bracket this time around, with stars that are looking to break through, like Alex Kane, who will find himself in the first match. And the likes of Shaf is also looking to break through finally, and King Rex would probably be in that bracket as well. There's also debutant Channing Thomas, and also Marshall Von Erich. So yeah, a lot to play for this time around. And yeah, Channing Thomas will be going one-on-one, unfortunately for him, in his debut match against the dominant Alex Kane. So maybe his run in the tournament might not be as long as he was hoping for, but we'll see how that plays out. And also in the field is, of course, former heavyweight champion Ryan Davidson and former junior heavyweight Matt Riddle as well. So some even more interesting matches potentially on the horizon. And it'll be interesting to see who can make it all the way through to the end. But we do have King Rex up next, and he will be taking on one of the 4 men left in the field. And it looks like it's going to be Matt Riddle. So King Rex versus Matt Riddle, potentially King Rex's biggest opponent so far, and it will definitely be his biggest win so far if you can defeat the former WWE United States champion. But we'll see how he gets on in the round. But let's find out who is next up and who will be left on the wheel in the championship match. So Marshall Von Erich is next up, and he will be taking on either Ryan Davidson, the former heavyweight champion, or Shaf. Or will it be Ryan Davidson getting a rematch at Wardlow? It looks like that will be the case, as it's going to be Shaf taking on Marshall, leaving Ryan Davidson. as the last man standing and the man that enters the championship quarter-final. Okay, so all of those matches are booked in, and we've also got some pre-show matches and actually for the first time a post-show match. So let's break down what's going to be going down on tonight's show. So we're going to open up with a dark match between Miranda Elise and Zeta Zhang, and whilst it's two heels going one-on-one, we needed major star Miranda Elise on the show to make sure she's not upset about missing out, and Zeta Zhang wasn't on the last show, so yeah, we've added her into this one. And then we go to another match that's for the tag team women's division, and Killer Kelly will once again team with Thunder Rosa using their chemistry, whilst Nicole Matthews and Hyan will also team up using their experience, and the Renegade Twins will then use their experience and chemistry within the match as well. And whilst we haven't introduced the women's tag team championships just yet, it's something that we're going to slowly work towards over the coming months. And then we're going to actually open the show up for the first time ever with the championship quarter-final as Wardlow defends his heavyweight championship against Ryan Davidson. Now, of course, this is a rematch from Strong Style 40, but if you remember, the two actually have bad chemistry. So I've decided to put this on in the opening match to really start off the broadcast with a bang. And then Alex Kane will go one-on-one with Channing Thomas, Marshall Von Erich will go one-on-one with Shaft, and King Rex versus Matt Riddle will be the main show main event. And then we conclude the night of action for the crowd in attendance with a junior heavyweight 5v5 match. And I'm not going to break down who's in that one, but we'll see later on tonight. So let's go into the action then, as we kick things off with the dark match between Miranda Elise and Zeta Zhang. And of course, the champion of the division picks up the win in 14 minutes 53 by pinfall with a drive-by. And Miranda Elise here, actually with a solid performance from her with a 59, which is one of her best performances for the company. Her highest ever is currently 62, and Zeta Zhang there with a 43, which is joint with her best ever performance for the company as well. And Zeta Zhang there is getting better at her gimmick, but she did seem off her game tonight, which is a shame. But overall, a 56 to kick things off for the crowd. And then we go into the second dark match of the night as Killer Kelly has picked up the pinfall over Robin Renegade to win the three-way tag team match. And apparently Kelly was head and shoulders above everybody else with a 72 performance there, with Thunder Rosa coming in at second with 56, Nicole Matthews with a 54 and Hyan with a 47. But the Renegade Twins not doing too bad themselves with a 48 for Robin and 45 for Charlotte, with Killer Kelly and Thunder Rosa also having the chemistry, the Renegade Twins also having chemistry, and Nicole Matthews and the Renegade Twins getting the tag team specialist bonus. And overall, a solid match for the 62 as we head into the main show then, as we kick things off with a huge title change as Ryan Davidson has defeated Wardlow in 9 minutes 33 by pinfall with a quick cradle. And during the match we also had AJ Mendez accidentally hit Wardlow, and Ryan Davidson wins back the Strong Style heavyweight title. And just to mention as well that Steve Austin was set to be at ringside. It doesn't show on this page, but he was there in the Road Agent notes, and there was also some back and forth between him and AJ during the match as well. Now, I really wanted to kick this roulette off with a shock and making the rest of the tournament unpredictable, because I think if Wardlow had won, everybody would have just assumed that he's going to go through and win the whole thing, which wouldn't be the first time a champion's gone all the way through the roulette as still champion. So we're going to mix it up this time around and have a title change in the first round. And it's Ryan Davidson's lucky day, as he got the luck of the draw in the championship round, and yeah, has won back his belt that he lost at Strong Style 40. And Wardlow with a 40 performance, which wasn't helped by the fact that we had to keep him strong, as he didn't really want to lose, but he was okay with it in the end. But yeah, that does affect his performance. And Ryan Davidson there with a 50, so solid from him, and I guess the best man won. And the creative finish that we used to counterbalance the bad chemistry was a success, which is good to see, and AJ Mendez did some good work at ringside. But now the question is, can Ryan Davidson hold on to the belt for the rest of the tournament? Stay tuned to the series to find out. But then we go into the next match where it's Channing Thomas's debut, and he has, unfortunately for him, lost to Alex Kane in 7 minutes 48 by pinfall with the mark of Kane. And yeah, Alex Kane is on a run right now The unstoppable force has not been stopped tonight as he picks up a 64 in-ring performance, which is great to see, and Channing Thomas with a 51, so that's actually pretty good as well. Channing Thomas has debuted his prestigious bastard gimmick and got great. Angelina Love debuted her perfect body gimmick and got an initial great, and also did some good work at ringside. But yeah, a really good match here with a 64, and hopefully the main event can top this, as that's a solid mid-card match. But let's continue then as Alex Kane advances. And also, Marshall Von Erich has advanced with a win over Schaff in 14 minutes 15 after a moonsault, and the recent signing continues his momentum there into the semi-final of the Strong Style Roulette. And unfortunately for Schaff, it's just not his day, and it's not his time just yet, despite the clear potential that he has as a key player in the division. But yeah, Von Erich, the local Texan of the legendary family, has got the win today. And yeah, a 56 for Von Erich and 54 for Schaff, so it looks like it was the right decision, but a 61 overall as Von Erich advances through onto the next wheel. And then we go to the main show main event then, where Matt Riddle has defeated King Rex in 14 minutes 28 by submission with a bro mission after actually cheating. And the match was designed to get the wrestlers to go out there and try and steal the show. And yeah, they got a 63, so not too bad at all. But Matt Riddle, one of the best performers in the division, and actually by average, he is the best performer in this tournament. And whilst he has only had one match for us, he did get a 59, and he wasn't far off that tonight with a 58, and King Rex there with a 47. So yeah, once again, the right man won. King Rex is our next big thing, according to the creative meeting, but he wasn't able to pull it off tonight, and he's going to have to wait a little bit longer for that main event push. And yeah, the semi-final is pretty stacked at this point, with Matt Riddle, Alex Kane, Ryan Davidson, the new champion, as well as Marshall Von Erich. And one of those men will leave the Strong Style Roulette as the champion. And then we go into the crowd's main event tonight in the post-show match, as Joseph Finneck Jr., Casey Jacobs, LJ Clary, Stephen Wolf, and Viano Free Jr., so all of the heels, have defeated Adam Priest, Eagle Blanc, Gran Dorado, Kevin Blackwood, and Tyler Bate, all of the faces, when Viano Free Jr. pinned Adam Priest while using the ropes for leverage. Classic Viano. And yeah, some good performances on here tonight, with Viano being the man of the match with a 73, Kevin Blackwood there with a 72, Tyler Bate with a 68, and I won't go through all of them individually, but yeah, there is some good performances, although the worst of the match was Casey Jacobs with a 31. But overall, a 47 to send the crowd home. But how did we shape up then in terms of overall rating, with us having a few hits towards production but less than last time? Let's find out. And we got a 56 overall and did increase our popularity, interestingly, in 24 regions. So now that we've hit the next size, we can grow in the Mid-South twice a month at least. Maybe there's some experimenting to do there in terms of keeping both events, Propaganda and Strong Style, the main show, and introducing 4 TV shows, all taped on one night, or maybe split between 2 tapings. We're going to keep it as it is for now, but maybe that's something we'll see later on in the year. But let's go forward then and check out the finances to end the episode. But before we get to the end of the month, of course, we have to do the post-show stuff. So let's praise some of the losers tonight, as we're going to praise Wardlow, we're also going to praise King Rex, and we're also going to praise, I think, Channing Thomas, because he did a good performance tonight. So we're going to tell all of those that they did great, and they're all pleased with that. And as for financials then, we actually made a loss tonight of $1,000, which is okay, because by the end of the month we still would have made a profit. But we did spend quite a lot on workers tonight to make sure everybody was on the show. That was going to be unhappy if they weren't. But yeah, that's fine, as we are now above the $50,000 mark, up to $52,246, and hopefully we can be close to the $60,000 mark by the end of the month. As for popularity recap, we did grow once again in the Mid-South, going from 36 to 37. We also went up in the Tri-State to 5, and everywhere else did remain the same. And we do actually have an email here from Viano Free Jr., and he says that Casey Jacobs is charismatic, and I can see him doing well in the future, which is interesting. So maybe want to keep an eye on going forward. But with that said, let's get to the end of the month. Okay, then we are at the end of the month and we have confirmation that Bandido has left AEW. So that is a huge free agent on the market and would only cost $500 per show. But we'd also have Pac and Malachi Black soon to be on the market as well. So a lot of competition for potential signings. I don't think we'll bring all three in anyway. We were once again first in the regional battles in the Mid-South, which will give us a slight boost to our attendance. But let's find out how we got on financially. And we made a profit of $6,518, which is slightly down on last month. But again, we did have increased production costs, which was $900 more. So that definitely made the difference there. We did have quite high ticket sales though at $22,581. Now that seems awfully high. So let's find out what our attendance was because I didn't even pay attention to that. And we had 1,178 people in the building for Strong Style 42 compared to the 989 that we had on the show before. So yeah, we've actually broke that 1,000 mark. And then for the Strong Style Roulette kickoff show, we had 1,331,000. So I think that was definitely helped by the size increase that we saw, not only in this episode, but in the last one where we actually went up too small. And yeah, it looks like that gives you a bit of a kick for attendance. And that also helped our merchandise, of course. Our sponsorship is almost 10,000 now per month, and we made a decent bit on broadcast revenue as well, but only slightly more than the last time we held 2 shows in 1 month. Worker costs was significantly more, so maybe that's something that we should try and bring down just a little bit to try and boost our profits, but as long as we're profitable, I'm not too bothered. Show costs were much more, marketing is a little bit more, merchandise costs are around the same, but production is a bit more than what it used to be. But that'll be the end of this video, and if you have enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like down below and make sure we hit 400 likes to unlock the next episode. And we are now back in full swing, and make sure you tune into the next episode where we will see the rest of the Strong Style Roulette. And for that, make sure you subscribe with notifications turned on. But until next time.